The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Tuesday, the 29th day of March, 2022. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House One Communications and Lindos. I'm Jamal Hartman. She's Sencha Durham, and Leanna Lambert will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Sencha.
Good morning.
You're back.
I'm back.
How was your weekend?
Listen, I had a weekend, okay? My son does motocross.
Oh, really?
And yes, so initially I thought that this was going to be a confidence builder. You know, it's an individual sport. He'll go down there and, build his confidence a little bit. My son is very serious about this. And I had to take him by myself this weekend. Jamal, I was knee deep in mud. People actually posted afterwards. They were like, "Oh, she did such a good job. She's such a moto mom." I'm not sure I want to be a moto mom, but yes, I was exhausted. Like to the point yesterday, I was still tired.
So you were like, why couldn't he choose like football or hockey or something?
That's the thing. He's into football as well, and I was hoping that football would prevail. We're still trying to figure it out. But he's definitely into motocross. So I was down at Southside this weekend, and it was good racing. It was really windy, a little scary, but it was good. It's funny. The sport is really growing. Honestly, I feel like it died down a little bit, and it's growing again. It's exciting to see.
That is exciting because growing up, I mean, Coney Island, I was down there a lot, and maybe I'm aging myself, but Coney Island, folks, that was the spot. I have not been since it's been down Southside. So now you've given me reason to come down.
A reason to come support Maddox.
All right, Maddox, I'm coming. Uncle Jamal's coming to support you. I'll be honest with you. Don't try to offer me a ride on the bike. I don't care how big, how small. A brother just ain't got it. All right. So
yeah. Jamal, you're Bermudian. All Bermudian males ride bikes.
Right. His doesn't have gears yet, right?
No, not yet.
Okay. Yet. So yeah, I can handle Maddox's bike. I can handle my I'm just saying, look, I'm not afraid to lose my Bermudian card and say I have never ridden a bike with gears. Never.
Really? So when you turned 16, you didn't get a bike?
It was a Scoopy. They didn't have gears.
I guess.
Yeah, I didn't. I came in luckily right after the V80 stage.
V80.
Yeah,
okay.
V80, V50. Yeah.
V50, sorry. V50. Yeah.
I tried to ride a DT one time, but anyway, good morning, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. Another good one today. We're welcoming Hazel Clark from the Bermuda Tourism Authority on. We're talking sports tourism today. The daily play is a remember when, and I'll give Sencha a hint about that. The remember when reflects our guest today.
Okay.
Yeah, so a little history question. Somebody out there trying to take my Bermudian card, but sometimes you just gotta ignore the hate. But Sencha, we have an important conversation to have this morning. Obviously, over the last 24, 48 hours, there's been a lot of discussion about what happened at the Oscars, but Bermuda had its own little situation on Friday. And what we're speaking about, and I'm just going to reference the Royal Gazette, MP famous blasted by speaker after monkey reference in House of Assembly. And the government backbencher was told last night he would have to apologize after he made a monkey reference believed to be about another MP. Dennis Lister, the Speaker of the House of Assembly, appealed to parliamentarians to think about how they represented voters. We set the tone for the country. And what MP Famous is accused of saying is there's a saying, one monkey don't stop the circus. Now, before we even go to the audience, MP Famous did release an apology yesterday via his Facebook page. He said, "Good day. I wanted to address the matter that came up this Friday during a brief speech in Parliament." During this, MP Famous said, after over 2 years of endless delays by one entity or another, there is now an agreement to redevelop the Fairmont Southampton Hotel, providing nearly 650 construction jobs in Bermuda and 800 jobs when the property reopens next year. This is welcome news for the people of Bermuda and must be celebrated. During my presentation, I used a phrase that the speaker and many others took offense to. In retrospect, I fully accept that a different term should have been used to convey my point. Sincere apologies to those I have disappointed for the use of that term. Essentially, my point is that all entities are finally on board with this project that will bring much needed employment to Bermudians and boost Bermuda's economic recovery. That has always been the focus of our work as a government TCF. Now, question of the morning. What can we learn from the language used by MP Chris Famous in the House of Assembly? Sancha, you look like you're ready.
You know what? My grandmother has always instilled in me etiquette. And there is certain etiquette when you have certain positions, and it doesn't mean you're selling out or you're not being yourself, but there's certain etiquette that you use when you're in the house. And that's not something, and as we all know, if something like that was said, we can't be in a position where we're like, well, we can say it about ourselves, but let them say it and it's a problem. We can't operate like that. In the house, there's a level of etiquette and it needs to be followed.
Well, I always say if you have a problem with other people's spaces, then you go and create your own, right? I'm a big proponent of that. Personally, I just feel like we are blowing so many things out of proportion. But again, that's me. Why do I say that? Because again, like comedy, I think we're treading very dangerously when we accept that everyone and everything is offended. No, if I say something that offends someone, one thing I'm going to do, if you tell me I offended you, first thing I'm going to do is I can't change what happened, but I'm going to apologize out of respect because my intent most likely wasn't to offend you.
But I mean, is Mr. Famous apologizing because he's really sorry, or is he apologizing because he's been told that he needs to apologize just to smooth it over and make it better?
That's where I was going with it. Because my thing is, I'm apologizing to you, not necessarily because I understand why it's wrong, only because you felt offended. Now, I'm going to go and check myself and say, okay, how was this offensive? And you know what? I may not stop saying what I said. I just may not say it again to or around you. Now, that said, I think a lesson from this could be, you know what, Mr. Famous? You said something. People were offended by it. You can say it in the backyard party with your cousins and friends. But as Sancha said, etiquette in certain spaces, you can't use that same language. Now, I've been a proponent of saying things like, yo, if I'm going in an office setting, I'm saying, what's up, bruh? That's how I speak. Like when you hire me, when you bring me in spaces, that's what you're getting. Hold
on, let me ask you this. If you see a black male in that office setting, you're not going to walk in and be like, what's up, my nigga? You're not going to say
I don't talk like that, but I get your point.
Nobody's going to say that. Like we're not doing that.
But Sancha, there was something on Facebook where someone made sense of what MP Famous said. And what they said was, it wasn't offensive. It's a term that's been used for ages, right? And while I understand what the point the person's making, I do. Times change.
Yeah.
What we said 5 years ago, or what was said in a song, like what was that Christmas song that 2 years ago they start kicking up about it because it referenced date raping a woman or something. Baby, it's cold outside. That could have been it.
Yeah.
Times change, and I think Cat Williams said it. The comedian, comedy should evolve with the times. It's not necessarily being canceled, but comedy should evolve with the time. We as individuals should evolve. Like if we still think the same and say the same things that we did 2 years ago, we can't necessarily blame that all on society. We have to look at, well, what has changed and how can I adapt to these changes? Are we going to agree with all the changes? Probably not. But
No.
teachable moment, I think there's something that MP Famous could have done better. I think using the word clown would have been better than monkey. Something that simple. Maybe.
How about we just not go there? We've moved forward with an agreement. Do we have to get emotional about it and call any sort of names?
Well, you're just
We don't.
sure.
We don't. And I mean, I get it, but then look at who he's referring to.
Well,
That man is that
allegedly.
allegedly. But I mean, we all know. I mean, based on the statement that came out on why he left,
Mm-hmm.
That is an intelligent man.
Yeah.
You know, and he left for reasons.
Yeah.
Right. So this agreement has come under what sort of circumstances? What are we selling ourselves out to for this agreement?
And I think no, but you make a good point, because again, we're speaking about the word he used, but I think there's something deeper about this. Like, well, even the statement where he released on Facebook about 800 jobs or whatnot. Folks, remember what I said about 2 minutes ago about times changing? You think a hotel in 2023 is going to need the same amount of people it needed in 2019?
But let me ask this: these contracts, okay, we're talking about the little jobs, right? We're talking about 800 people. Let me not call it little jobs. That's not the right word. He's talking about 800 people getting back to work. But when we look at the actual contract, the contractors that are going to be used, and who's going to get those, the $1 million jobs, who are those going to? Same people.
And I think,
we're not going to do anything different.
But this is an important conversation to have, because I remember when the One Bermuda Alliance was government, and I think her name was Tony Daniels and Michael Dunkley, and I would always say to them, you guys are using the wrong language. And they said, well, what do you mean? I said, you keep talking about creating, the OBA at the time, creating 2,000 jobs. And I said, what you're failing to do is understand that jobs don't create a better life. Jobs don't solve the problem, the overarching problem in Bermuda. These jobs, if they don't pay people enough to be able to make a living, then what's the point? So I think, beyond his comment, using the reference, one monkey doesn't stop a circus, maybe that person you're referring to saw this bigger picture and didn't want to go with it. And so now we're focused on your comment, your name, and not what we should be focusing on, which is, hold on, in 2023, what's the likely pay of these jobs? Is it going to be enough to solve the problems? We see which way inflation's going, despite, I think, it dropping 2.7 in Bermuda recently. But look what's happening in the U.S. What they say, Bermuda, the U.S. sneezes, Bermuda catches a cold.
Exactly.
So what I challenge people to do in this instance, Sancha, is really, we are so conditioned. We're conditioned to believe that, governments provide jobs, create jobs, and this and that, and we're ticking off this box. At the end of the day, folks, jobs don't solve the problem. They don't solve the issue. And so I think that what we should be talking about is those reasons, what was in there that made
that's my question.
that from his words himself, from the Premier David Barrett, the best finance minister this country's had, right? What was in there that he thought was not in the best interest of the Bermudian people?
Exactly. That's what I want to dissect. That's what I want to know. That's more important to me.
So what can we learn from this statement by Chris Famous? I'll tell you what we can learn is go beyond the headlines. What we can learn is go and listen to what the former finance minister said. There's audio of it. What we can do is go deeper and find out what these jobs are going to be. Who's getting these contracts? Let's not miss that. Let's highlight that now. Who's getting these contracts, right? That's important.
Yeah.
So
that's overly important.
Oh, indeed. Yeah. Let's go to the comments. Sam Cat Place, she says, morning to me, it seems like he is used or doing or using this language. Sorry, it seems like he's used to doing or using this language. So I don't believe he is truly not truly sorry. Sam Cat Place goes on to say, nowadays you have to be cognizant of what you say. No longer can you use terms that you normally use because of the sensitivity matters. Well, sensitivity does matter, and we are living in a different time. Again, teachable moment.
I just feel like we can't ask people to respect us in a certain way if we're not respecting ourselves. We can't be demanding respect and then it's like, well, I can do it, but you can't. Respect yourself. Respect,
You know what's interesting, Sandra? I don't use the N word ever. I don't. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't use rap music anymore because of the use of the. I can't take it. Like I have an issue if someone I'm cool with comes out what up, Mike, whatever. Like, I just don't like the word. So if you ask me, if I'm talking to someone, white person, non-black person, and they use the word, and you ask me, well, is it okay if black people? I'm the wrong person to talk to about that because I have an issue with anybody using. No, people will say, but context, Jamal. I don't give a crap about context. I don't like the word. That to me, respect me enough not to use it. Cool. I don't think we live in a space where people respect people enough because people will feel like, well, you're offended by it, so be it. That's not gotten anything to do with me.
Right.
When we don't respect people's boundaries, when we don't respect their their dislikes or anything, we create other issues. Now, the challenge for this now is we've seen language like this used in the House before. We've seen a former premier almost want to go across the aisle, as I mentioned yesterday, to take out another MP. These are things that have happened, and they happen. The question is, what do we take away from this? My only thing to the audience today is go beyond it. Don't be distracted by it. I read a list of things that happened yesterday when we were all talking about the Oscar incident that we missed. It's important that we go beyond it. Renee Sherilyn Simmons says, times change, yes, but if the opposition made that statement, there would be an uproar. It was a bad choice of words for House of Assembly. We know there was no intent of malice, but we must be careful where and how. I want to address that. If Michael Dunkley used that reference, I would feel no different than Chris Famous using the reference. Because, again, for me at least, if the intent was not to be racist.
But I feel like there was obviously there's some sort of shade there, regardless of, there's some sort of shade. For him to continuously use that phrase, no, one monkey isn't going to stop a show. There's a level of shade there that we're referring to this man as this monkey ain't going to stop this show. And it wasn't said once. It was said repeatedly. Well, from what I read, I didn't hear it. So, there was an intent of malice. I feel personally.
You feel?
My opinion.
I'll say this much. I don't think it'll happen anytime soon. But I think it will happen again. Why? Because our politicians have shown us that maturity isn't a prerequisite to sitting in that house. And unless people are held accountable, like if an apology is all that's needed.
Yeah.
You get me? You know what I'm saying? Like, and again, this is not to say that MP Famous deserves any sort of, discipline beyond an apology. I'm just simply saying that there will people that will see this and hear this and feel like, all he had to do was apologize. He didn't kill nobody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's bring Leanna in. Let's see what Leanna. I hope Leanna's got an opinion on this. She
give us an opinion, Lee. She stays away from the opinion.
Good morning, Lee. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. How is everyone doing this morning?
Oh, we're fine. How you doing this morning?
I'm feeling great. I had a great night's sleep last night, and other than the dog barking at 6 a.m. this morning to do our daily rooster wake up call,
Yeah,
other
yeah.
than that, I'm okay.
So instead of a rooster, she's got a dog waking her up. You gotta
Exactly,
appreciate
exactly.
there's alarm clocks there, natural
Yeah.
alarm. So Lee, Sancho wants you, man, see if you wanted to add to the conversation.
Would you like to add to this conversation, Leanna? What's your
You
thoughts?
know what? I remember reporting on this yesterday, and I knew this was going to be a topic today, and I guess I could say like I've been brewing on this topic because I knew it was coming down the pipeline this morning. I'm with you, Sancha, in saying that you've got to be careful with the
Mhm.
way you are using certain language. And I know this in, when it comes to reporting the news and having to always, make comments and whatnot. But you got to be careful. I mean, you know what type of setting you're in, you know what type of people you are presenting to. And if you
Mhm.
don't wish the backlash, come on. You've been doing this
Yeah.
for quite some time now. And we have to understand that, and as we even saw yesterday when we were talking about the Will Smith and Chris Rock situation, yes, everybody is going to have their own sentiments on, how they interpret what is being said. But you want to also make sure that you are careful with the type of language you're using, because it could offend, certain demographics or, races or certain types of people. And you don't just want to go out there spewing whatever you think is
Well,
you think is
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I
I also think it's a level of, if I may say, I feel like some of the ministers have become a little complacent. It's
Yeah,
like, I
yeah,
can.
oh, of course.
What are you going to do about it?
yeah.
you know?
What they got
Yeah.
another 3 years, but I want to say this before you head over to the news. Like the internet and social media has given so many of us a platform to express how we feel, sometimes at other people's expense, and sometimes without consequences. The last few days, whether it be comments by Chris Famous or the incident with Will Smith and Chris Rock, I think it's fair to say that these were teachable moments for us all. And it's
Mhm.
important that we don't let the lessons get lost in our opinions. Lee, it's your turn. Over to you.
Over to me. Thanks, Jamel and Sencha, and good morning to everyone that's tuned in with us today. I hope everyone is having a great start to their day. I'm Liana Lambert, and it's time for the Daily Hour News Break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. In today's top stories, confrontation continues to brew over cannabis law regulations, which could be relaxed in the coming months. Now, MPs voted in favor for the regulations for the second time in the House of Assembly on Friday. However, according to a report in the RG, the governor will withhold assent for legislation to allow the legal growth and scale cannabis if it is not in line with United Nations drugs conventions. Now, Raina Legley is expected to be asked to sign the Cannabis Licensing Act 2022 into law after it is discussed in the Senate tomorrow. But a government House spokesperson said that Her Excellency shall reserve assent if she considers the bill to be inconsistent with the UK's international obligations, in this instance, in the United Nations Conventions on Drugs. In other news, a 52-year-old man was rushed to hospital yesterday following a serious road crash in Smiths Parish. Emergency services responded to reports of a serious collision on South Road near the junction of Sale Road in Smiths at about 10:35 a.m. Now, police say information now suggests that a taxi was being driven east on South Road and a private car was being driven in the opposite direction when the vehicles collided. It appears that the car involved was overtaking another vehicle also headed west at the time. The driver of the car, believed to be a local male resident, was injured. The extent of his injuries remain unknown at this time. However, he was transported to hospital via ambulance, conscious and breathing. Police say that the man was still in hospital and that no one else was injured in the accident. Anyone with information about the collision should contact police at 211 or 295-0011. Meanwhile, the island's COVID-19 infection numbers continue to drop, with 102 new cases detected in the more than 4,929 tests carried out from last Wednesday to Saturday. Now, according to health officials, there are now 241 active cases. There were 10 people in hospital, with one of them in the intensive care. There have been 138 recoveries since Thursday. Now, the island can see a change to mandatory mask wearing after this Thursday. Relaxed mandates are to come into effect as of March 31st, according to Health Minister Kim Wilson, who said that masks must still be worn indoors in healthcare or institutional settings, such as nursing homes, rest homes, and prisons after the end of this month. Now, they will also be required on public transport, including indoors at the airport and on ferries, in buses, and in taxis and minibuses. Now, she said, however, businesses had been encouraged to set mask requirements for entry to their premises as appropriate. Businesses have the right to set a mask policy, and all customers, clients, and staff must comply with it. Taking a look at today's weather, we have a high near 69 and a low near 60 degrees. We will see a bright and blistery day ahead, with sunny periods and a chance of a shower hanging around. Now, a cold front is exiting the area, bringing cool and breezy weather to the island for the next couple of days. Conditions then gradually settle later in the week as high pressure builds in from the west. The current cool temperatures rebound towards the end of the weekend, so we can expect some warmer weather. That's all for the Daily Hour News Break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Now let's head back to Jamal and Sencha in the studio for today's Daily Focus.
So real quick question. The weed bill, right? Was it
The weed bill?
That's what we're talking about.
The weed bill. I haven't read this, right? But I see people have issues with it. So, and I'm being serious. No. Does this mean we're going to be able to like go to cotton match, catch a secondhand high? Like, what does this mean? Anybody know? I haven't read.
Well, there's still
recreational to be anywhere, like smoking anywhere.
No. It's not going to be like we see over in like Colorado and different places in LA and stuff like that. No, that's not what we're seeing. And this is why the legislation keeps going back and forth, because they're really trying to get a hold and a grip on how it's going to be presented to the public, in the sense where, you know, they want to make sure that children aren't heavily affected by the effects and everything with this legislation, and that people are not finding themselves into drug, issues and problems, and, the island wouldn't be bombarded with those type of issues. But no, people are not going to be able to walk around just smoking, a sticky.
I mean, I wasn't promoting anything. I was just asking because I spent a lot of time at certain football clubs as a child, and I think it honestly impacted me. It my development. I mean, I never smoked in my life, but I've been high.
Well, is it your development in height or?
Leanna,
I had to throw that in.
Nowhere.
Sherry would be so proud of me right now.
please give us a day of the year or something like. Wow, Leanna.
Wow. Okay, guys. So today is Niagara Falls Runs Dry Day. Did we know that? On March 29th, 1848, ice blockages caused rivers to run dry and reduced the flow of water to such an extent that Niagara Falls, 3,160 tons of water per second flow came to an halt. Locals celebrate with Niagara Falls Runs Dry Day, and there are plenty of great hotels in the area. It's not hard to come by for you to come and celebrate with them. So there's celebrations at Niagara Falls today.
Runs dry.
I was stuck.
Niagara Falls runs dry.
Wow.
Yeah. Anything to celebrate, huh?
Yeah, at this
Yeah.
point.
I'm sorry, Sancho. I'm just still not over that. Liana thinks that secondhand weed is the reason I'm getting
Makes you
broke.
short. No, but
Yeah.
honestly, I'm very cognizant of that too. When Jesse takes Maddox to football games, I'm like, where you standing? What are you? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm very cognizant of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's issues like this that they're still
Yeah.
trying to, sort out with this legislation, which is why it keeps, coming under fire and a lot of
Yeah, I'm saying, brothers, do your thing, but I just want to watch some cricket. I don't want to sleep through it. You feel me? All right. Look, Lee, we'll see you tomorrow.
I'll see you guys tomorrow.
All righty, we've
Bye,
got a very
Liana.
special guest coming up. Hazel Clark is coming. We're talking sports tourism. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back. High times, Bermuda.
Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose People's, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little terror, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it People's, I call it my one-stop shop in the city. People's, we're here for you.
The history of everyday use of spices extends back thousands of years into antiquity. Since 1976, the Frontier Natural Foods Co-op has been bringing a wide range of exciting and authentic flavors to the table. A comprehensive range of ancient traditional herbs and spices produced organically and sustainably. The results are good news for the environment and more robust, fragrant essential oils in these natural seasonings. This month, we're featuring Frontier Natural Products, at least 95% organic salt-free lemon pepper. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Mom's celebrating her 70th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dandytown Field. Number 6, Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. She's Sancha Durham. I'm Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House One Communications and Nose and People's Pharmacy. Bit behind time, so let's bring in our guest. We've got Hazel Clark from the Bermuda Tourism Authority in the Hazels. Welcome, madam. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Good to see you, Jamel and Santa. I enjoyed your conversation this morning.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my mouth has gotten me in trouble before, so I can relate to some of these folks. It hasn't gotten me slapped.
That's
but
good.
Not yet. But
I always think about these times. I think about my dad and would he have gotten away with some of the things he said in this more sensitive time that we live in? I don't know. It's a lot different. As you said, you can't, you have to evolve with, I guess, your language and the way you communicate these days for sure.
Yeah, it's very different. It's a much different time. But look, let's get right to the conversation. Thank you once again. When people think of tourism, right, Bermuda, they think of marketing, pictures of someone eating a fish sandwich and a beach and just leisure. They think about leisure. But what is sports tourism and why is sports tourism so important for a country like Bermuda?
Well, sports tourism is very important for quite a few reasons. The first thing I think about when I think of sports tourism, just me as a young girl going to watch my sister compete all around the world, there were certain countries and places I was introduced to through sport that I returned to as an adult and took a vacation, like Majorca, Spain, for instance. And so I think sports tourism can be a way to introduce a demographic of people that may not have had Bermuda in their consideration set to the island. And once they get here, we get them hooked because it's a really amazing place with so much to offer. So just that introduction through sports tourism is key. And also, obviously, the economic benefits for the island. I mean, when you have these events where you can bring large groups of people in to compete, that's great. When you also can add potentially some television coverage and the visibility of athletes coming from all over the world. Each athlete's local, media is covering them. So that expands our reach and expands our visibility. So sports tourism really key, and I'm very happy to see the way that we've been, our trajectory and the way that we've been able to bring in business in recent years.
Indeed. And just when I think of Bermuda as a destination, I'll put this out there. I always believed that sports tourism was a way for us to go. But what are some of Bermuda's best assets as a sports tourism destination?
Well, that's first of all, the people, the infrastructure, the capabilities. I have people come to me and say, Bermuda's such a small island. Can they pull off our event? And our sports credibility, I mean, it just is undeniable. We're able to pull off any type of event. We're able to come together with this small pool of people that are so cross-functional and able to jump into so many different projects and pull off pinnacle events, a PGA Tour event, a Sail GP. And I think that's our calling card. And when people realize that, they're really blown away. So that's one huge thing. I mean, then, obviously we have some facilities where we have strengths, our golf courses, golf business, ideal. Obviously sailing, our water, also our endurance category, the fact that we have, roads, we're able to host triathlons and road races. So these are some of our positives, but one untapped positive that we're still working to develop out would be our national governing bodies and working with them to identify opportunities within their verticals to make sure that we continue to bring business through.
So what are some of the highlighted events throughout this year that we should know about?
Yeah, no, thanks for asking that. So obviously the one that's right around the corner with our USATF Bermuda Games, our professional track and field event. We're so excited about that. And that is, April 9th. Every time I say it, we had a very short runway for that one. So that's coming really soon. We also have our Black Golfers Week and our Butterfield Bermuda Championship. Those are back to back and really great golf events. So those will happen in October. We've obviously got our Sail GP event. We have our New York City Football Club partnership, which we haven't had an opportunity to talk about in detail, but I do want to talk about at some point. We're in the final stages of just getting that ready to fully activate. And so that's a really exciting partnership. And then we have some tennis opportunities that we'll be bringing to the island as well through fantasy camps and a world-class tennis event that we're working to queue up. So, I mean, there are so many opportunities coming through. So many things that we've been working on. As I'm sure that you guys understand, when it comes to business, you kind of sow the seeds and then see them blossoming. And so a few years ago, right before the pandemic, I was doing a lot of work going to golf clubs and, top country clubs in the Northeast and making connections. And now we see those connections coming through. So as a team, we're very happy to see that.
Wow, that's exciting. My background is a lot in production and worked on America's Cup. And so I know that there's a lot of challenges that you face producing a world-class event such as the USATF Bermuda Games on such a small stage as Bermuda. What are some of the things that you're facing?
I'll be honest, the biggest challenge, and this was something I was on the phone and I almost can't sleep, the airlift right now. The fact that we have so few flights and you have athletes coming from all over the world on the same day and you're trying to coordinate and literally you're seeing that there aren't enough seats and also our hotel capacity. I have to thank our hotel partners. I've been running around begging people for a few rooms here and a few rooms there. But when you have these types of events, those are huge factors. From a capabilities and an infrastructure standpoint, our team is on point. I have to give credit to the BNAA, everyone over at the National Sports Center, and everyone, all the volunteers, and of course the BTA team that's jumped in to make this a success.
Awesome. Who do we have confirmed for this event so far? I know that's the big question.
That's a big question. So I just got, every day we get more confirmations, but we have Johan Blake coming from Jamaica, Noah Lyles, who's world champion and Olympic medalist coming through. Shikari is coming through from the USA. We have athletes from Japan. Now I'm blanking out. I'm telling you. We've got quite a few. I think we had maybe 16 Olympic medalists, Olympic gold medalists coming through from all over the world, Jamaica, US, Africa. I mean, literally all over the world. And of course, Janai Parent Chief, which I just keep stressing to everyone in Bermuda. He's a world-class jumper. He's top 5 in the world. A top 5 in the world jumper at any point can be an Olympic medalist. He's the cream of the crop and we need to support him.
And he'll be on Thursday.
Oh, great.
Yes.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, I'm very excited to have this opportunity for him to jump at home. And I'm just, this is a gold level meet. This is a continental tour World Athletics meet. We've got Grant Holloway coming through. And Ajay Wilson in the 800, New Jersey girl. These just won a world championship. They just won world titles, but this is a very high level event. They're able to get world championship points, which is huge. And so you're really attracting the best talent at this event.
Okay. Shifting gears a little bit, there is a huge emphasis and budget that goes into the PGA every year. Last year, we saw the Black Golfers Week follow directly after, and we didn't hear as much about that event. How does the BTA go about giving similar emphasis towards Black Golfers Week?
Wow. Well, that's a great question. And I have to say that Butterfield Bermuda Championship is in front of Black Golfers Week. And I want to give credit to Butterfield Bermuda Championship for their support to help us build out Black Golfers Week. It's a new event. And last year, we really did a pilot event and we're able to bring in different attendees that are influential in the Black community, some really strong panelists like Dr. John Carlos that came in to talk about the importance of these types of conversations and events. And when we tested it, we got a great reaction from the community and already are seeing a lot of interest. PJ Magazine is bringing a group through. We've had interest there are a lot of Black golf clubs that said there's nothing like this. And we're so excited to have something like this. And we want to bring our group. So we think that this year is going to be a huge year for that event. We also were really happy to be able to have our community at that event and to see them engage. And, we're going to put that schedule out, but just to give you an overview, there's going to be a panel, which is really important, a panel discussion. We called it the Legends Lunch last year, where we're able to talk about ways to continue to create pathways for Black people in the sport. And also, we want to recognize the contributions of Black golfers and the legacy. That's a story that hasn't been told as much as it should have been told. And we have legendary Black golfers in Bermuda. Kid Corbin, he is a Bermudian and he was a trailblazer in golf. So again, we need to celebrate those stories.
Yeah. Now, you spoke a little bit about New York FC and that deal. My observation is that that's a sponsorship deal that seems to be strictly about marketing. Will there be any opportunities for young footballers in Bermuda to explore mentorships with the club at some point?
Sanja, I'm glad you asked that. Just to be clear, any partnership that we do at this point at the BTA, any sports tourism initiative must have a component that brings an on-island event or activation to Bermuda. So we're not just doing things that are marketing. They will be bringing academy play to the island. We are going to be working with our national governing body, the BFA, to make sure that our local athletes have the opportunity to play with their athletes and also our youth. So there definitely will be components where we're bringing tournaments to the island. That's a part of that partnership. And we'll go into more detail with that as we continue to build it out.
Awesome.
These are exciting times for Bermuda as a destination. But like I said, Hazel, I think, because of my understanding of having worked in the tourism space, even currently still, I kind of have a better idea of how things work. The majority of people honestly don't. I've always said that Bermuda is a very unique animal because a lot of Bermudians believe they understand tourism because they live in Bermuda or they're from Bermuda, but it's so much more to it. How have you, you've been in the BTA for about 3 years now. How have you, and from my understanding, the first person to really take on the sports role, how have you seen it evolve? Like, how have you seen in that short time Bermuda evolve as a sports destination? And, why should Bermudians feel confident that this is something that's going to give them the opportunity to have a better quality of life?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I can say since I've been to Bermuda, what I've seen is that people get it and people want to get behind these types of events and opportunities. And the fact that the BTA can come and put an opportunity in front of the community and say, this is something that's positive for the island, and put out the reports that we put out to show that economic impact. Everyone understands that, and it's palpable. We can feel that. And whether it's, people that are driving taxi drivers, or the hotels, or, just the different contractors that we employ, Sports tourism have had a huge effect. I have to talk about the World Triathlon, talking about contractors. I'm able to work with, as the chair of that, about 30, 35 contractors. So, I mean, there's a huge effect all the way through with sports tourism. People get it. And I have to say, the community owns sports tourism. It cannot happen without our volunteers, without our, all of the people at the National Sports Center, for instance, and our national governing bodies and the coaches and the experts coming together to make it successful. BTA can't do it alone, and we are very fortunate to have such great partners externally to make this happen. So this belongs to us. And even with our going back to our USATF Bermuda Games, I want to ask the community to come out and to let Bermuda shine. We are on a NBC live broadcast, and we want to have a full stadium and show the world the energy that Bermuda has. That's only going to help us to attract more business. That's only going to help us to really solidify ourselves as a leading sports destination.
Yeah.
If you have any questions or comments for Hazel, please feel free to shoot. I will do my best to get through them. But I want to put an emphasis on that, what you just said regarding coming out. We often, I think we traditionally, and this is not a Bermudian thing, but we're so much quicker to discuss the problems and complain about the problems. But when we have an opportunity to be a part of the solution, I'm not quite sure we necessarily take that up. I think by attending these games, by showing up with Bermuda on the international stage on NBC television, I think that's an opportunity to do our part. So I'm not quite sure. I mean, I don't know what ticket prices are, but I'm quite sure that that's an investment that most Bermudians should want to be a part of. But where can people get tickets? How much are tickets? What's the information like around that?
Yeah, so tickets range from 20 to 150. 20 would be a general seating. 150 is our VIP experience. That thanks to Goslings for contributing to that experience. And right now, our ticket sales are, let's say, about 60%. So we're doing really well. We did have a short runway, and we saw immediately that quite a few people snapped up tickets. I know that I've heard in Bermuda, sometimes we have a culture where we wait last minute. So we were happy to see that 60% of the tickets are gone. But we have another 40% we want to move forward. We want to make sure that this is a success. And also, we have to talk about our young people. There is a Fastest Kid on the Rock race, which is sponsored by Athene. Thank you so much, Athene, for stepping up and understanding the importance of this event. And we want to come out, give our children an opportunity to compete in that, to hear the home crowd behind them, to experience the energy, to see the elite athletes. And so that's a part of this event as well. So the community has to come out and be involved on so many levels.
Alrighty. And
are there, sorry, I have a question. Can I have
yes,
are there any sort of COVID protocols that people have to follow for this event, with it being so many people there?
Oh, you're scaring me, Sandra. I don't want to.
Sorry. I feel like that's going to be a question, right?
Right. You might have the wrong person to answer that. I'm pretty sure that there are no protocols that I can think of that are outside of the norm. I don't believe that there's a mask mandate, but I'm sure that you can find that information on the website. And if anyone has a question out there, please call the BTA and get someone. I'll direct you to, to Shay, my colleague, who will give you the right information around that.
Yeah, because I thought I saw those numbers rise, and I'm gonna have to mask up and put my whole bodysuit on and all that. But no, Liz, I want to ask you about one of the things about tourism. So some destinations, they focus on, like I'm in West Palm Beach. Spring training baseball is huge. Like that's a sports economy here. So baseball teams coming into the area and playing before their season starts. Is Bermuda more event ready or training ready? And what I mean by that is there's sports tourism where we focus on, I believe you mentioned having teams down coming to train in Bermuda versus actual events in Bermuda. What is there a balance, or is one more of the focus than the other?
That's such a great question. I'll say, when you're talking about how things have evolved, when I first came to the organization and looked at that, helped to create our new sports business development strategy, we had a huge emphasis on college sports and training camps. Obviously, with COVID and some of the protocols around COVID and the fact that most college teams were grounded, we had to look away from that and try to see where our green shoots were, where our opportunities were. And golf was something that was coming in because of the nature of the sport and the fact that people are able to really social distance, and the country clubs were still bringing activity. We saw our golf activity continue. I think it's something that's always evolving. There are some barriers with our training camps, but we have quite a few that have come through. One just left recently. We've got to continue to build our relationships with tour operators. We have to understand what the NCAA guidelines are with international travel. But again, I think it's evolving, and we're just looking at where the opportunity comes in. That's where data analysis comes in, and we really kind of hit those areas as much as we can.
Yeah, it was my my good buddy and co-host on this show, Larry Marshall Jr. He taught me, because when I was working in Bermuda tourism, I always said, why don't we focus more on college things? And he was, you know, as a former student athlete, it's like, it was not that easy. Like, there's NCAA rules and all that. So it's interesting because, again, we don't know what we don't know. And so when you're in that space, you learn more, you get to understand more. Traveling Trotty's asking, would like to see a major cricket event in Bermuda with India, Barbados, etc. Are there, I know you mentioned working with sporting buddies. That would probably be Bermuda Cricket Board of Control, I think it's called. I think, yeah, that's the only. Would you work with them? Is this something that could be considered?
It's funny that you mentioned that national governing body is very active, and they're really proactive about reaching out to us with opportunities. And so they have brought quite a few opportunities, some which had to be derailed due to the pandemic. But we have done business with them in the past and helped them to bring events, and we will continue to do that. And that's, again, just about us sitting down with the national governing bodies, identifying opportunities, and then working with them to make them come to fruition. We can't do it alone, but we can do it when we collaborate. And I just really encourage everyone not to work in silos. If you have an idea, sometimes I find out about things that are happening on the island, and I say, I wish they would have come to us so that we could help to enhance it and elevate. We're a small island. We have to work together. We have to be connected. We have to share ideas. And that's the way that we're going to grow this product.
I think I like you. And I'm going to tell you why I think I like you. I think I like you because it's no secret that as an organization, the Bermuda Tourism Authority kind of did work in silos previously, too many people. And I think what you've preached today is that, you know, it's not, we can't do it alone. We're open to ideas. But you said at the beginning of this conversation that, you know, it's about working with the national bodies. Folks, if we're all going to achieve something together, then we need to work together. All of our hands need to be in the pot. All of our heads need to be together. And I think that's the way forward. So I appreciate your mindset and the way that you're going about business. You say all the right things, you're doing the right things. And I think Bermuda's being rewarded justly for the efforts of you and the team at the Bermuda Tourism Authority. And I really hope that whatever it is that we can do with this platform, it continues to encourage people like Shana Smith, who's got her tickets, among Cardi got her ticket. There's a lot of people in our audience that have tickets. So appreciate that. But we do have my fellow St. George's fan here, Charles H. Jefferson II, CEO.
Thank you, CEO. He came through with the DC. I knew somebody was going to come through with the right.
No COVID protocols, folks. So there you go. Currently, that could change. You know how it is. That can change. But a reminder, so the event is on the 9th. So that's the Saturday, next Saturday.
Yes. So on April 8th, we will have our Fastest Kid on the Rock qualifying events. I mean, there's no limit. Bring your young people out. Parents, I want to tell you, sign your kids up. You don't know, one race, just getting them on the starting line, exposing them can change the trajectory of their life. I sometimes think about if my father didn't force me to race and run my first race, where I would be, how much it's impacted my life. And this is not about being an Olympian, this is just about the things that sport taught me. So please expose your children, sign them up for the event on the 8th. The fastest qualifiers, the top 8, will get to compete on the 9th and be a part of our NBC broadcast, which is so exciting for our young people. So the 8th will be the qualifying events. The 9th will be the professional event with our young people from the Fastest Kid on the Rock, starting out the festivities at 2:00.
You know, I was going to ask you, and your CEO showed up. I was going to ask you, are you going to be participating in any race, maybe against, some of your fellow colleagues or anything? I mean, I will put my hand up to do a beanbag race.
Well, listen, as I said yesterday, as I see CEO Charles Jeffers on here trolling me again, that's an exhibition. Me racing Charles would be an exhibition, not a race, okay? Because it's going to be like this, all right?
Charles. One last question. Traveling Trotty, she's asking, do you need tickets for April 8th?
No, you do not need tickets. That's a great question, Traveling Trotty. We don't need tickets for April 8th. Just come out and support. It's going to be really, really fun to watch the young ones run. I can't wait to see them in action. I love seeing young people, compete and have fun with each other. This is one of those opportunities and experiences they won't forget.
Hazel, thank you and the Bermuda
Thank
Tourism
you.
Authority for bringing us an event like this, something that I think Bermudians should be very excited about, get out and support, and I'm looking forward to enjoying it. I don't know if it's going to be on TV or in person, but if I'm there in person, I'm showing up with my beanbag. If nobody else shows up, I win by default. I win by default, So
I love it.
Thank you for trusting our platform, Hazel. And if there's anything else we can get out for you before this event takes place or any of the events, please reach out. We got you.
Jamel, Sancha, thank you for having me. I really, really appreciate your platform, all you're doing. Keep up the good work, and I hope to see you at the track soon.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. I'll be clapping. See you soon. All right, folks, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like if you appreciated that conversation with Hazel Clark. Bermuda Tourism Authority are doing a thing, Sancha.
Yeah, that actually excited me. I got goosebumps. Like, all of these events. I love a little event.
But that's what I was going to say, because you were
exciting.
involved heavily in, the America's Cup, and I'm just
yes, production is my thing. Yeah, so I get it. I get what she's feeling. I get every emotion that she's going through right now, the butterflies, the sleepless nights. But when you see it all come together and that day off, it's this feeling that you can't even explain. So, yeah.
I just enjoy the events. We're gonna take a quick break. Don't go anywhere, because today's daily play actually involves Hazel Clark. So I want to see if anyone guesses this answer. All right. So get ready, Sancha. They might be able to help.
Look,
So,
can somebody message the answer, please?
Yeah, you can call. We'll be right back.
Call a friend.
A lot happens around your home. That is why at One Communications, we have introduced affordable security and video monitoring, because everyone should be able to afford to protect their family. Anytime, from anywhere, One Home Security keeps you connected and puts security in your hands with an easy-to-use smartphone app to control everything. Home security is important to keep you and your family safe. Motion-activated cameras around your home and security monitoring within create a complete security system, providing protection both inside and outside your home. Professional monitoring means that there's someone on call with 24/7 protection to notify the authorities and help keep you and your loved ones safe. We are dedicated to whole home protection with indoor and outdoor cameras, smart door locks, motion sensors, and more, so you'll always be connected to what matters most. With professional installation, no upfront hardware fees, and low monthly rates, because keeping your family safe should be affordable for everyone. Total home video monitoring and security, there's no better way to protect your home than with One Home Security.
All right, welcome back to the big show. It's the hour. Sancha, myself, Jamel. Thanks again to Hazel Clark. Don't forget, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like if you found that conversation helpful, enjoyed the conversation. Sanch.
Jamel, I don't look forward to this part. I need to get used to it.
Well, you know what? You know who else doesn't look forward to it?
Sherry.
You said it. You said it. I didn't call her.
Sherry, we need to talk about this. We should have each other's back, listen to the question, and then message each other the answer quickly. All right, I think this is how we should operate.
Let's see if she's got your back this morning. 0.0, great taste, no alcohol. Sancha, are you ready?
I guess.
All right, it's a remember when, folks. Here we go. The movie Lean on Me was based on a true story. The life of Principal Joe Clark, father of today's guest, Hazel Clark. What year was the movie released?
Lean on Me had to be in the 80s. 1980. Lean on Me. 1986. Can I give you a range? Between 86 and 88. No? Yes? And that's one of my favorite movies. I should know this. No?
So, Sancha, the audience is off and on. We got 1972.
72?
No, people, no. Adeline Stevenson Swan got it. 1989.
I was almost there.
1989.
Almost.
Very nice.
I'm actually proud of myself. I was almost there.
Yeah, you were very close. You got the 80s.
Look,
And you said
hold
80s,
on.
88.
Sherry just messaged me. Sherry, you're late.
So basically, Sherry cheated. She went Google, right? She went to Google. She probably hit Hazel up. She let me know the answer. Then she hit you up. She folded. You know what? 2 L's. 1%.
So Sherry, I'm gonna have your back next time. I'm gonna message you right
Hold on. Now you're trying to call me out. Kathy Rogers. She says, have you seen the movie yet, Jamal? Well,
Jamal, you're asking a question about a movie you haven't seen.
Hold on.
What?
My card got taken last year because I realized I was the only person I knew that had not seen the movie. So I watched it and I enjoyed every part of it. And I think I actually fell in love with Joe Clark. Like,
yeah.
And I wish I knew this guy seriously, because I was like, man, he got away with that. Nah, but I did watch the movie for the first time last year, and I quite enjoyed it. So yes,
it's a really good movie.
Yes, it was Lean on Me, Anika De Shields. So final thoughts on today's show, Famous and Hazel and Sports Tourism. What's your thoughts?
My thoughts?
Go first. Okay, I'll go first. I'll go first. But honestly, I'll just say this, folks, as I already stated. We are no different. So many of us just say what we want on these social media platforms and don't face consequences because we feel protected by our keyboards. I think there's lessons in what's happened. I'm not advocating violence. I'm not saying anyone deserves to be slapped for what they say. But I think there's lessons in this that we all should be a bit more cautious about how we treat others, not just by our actions, but also by what we say. I'm excited for Bermuda. Bermuda is lucky to have people like Hazel Clark. Honestly, I believe
definitely
we need to treat her and cherish what the work she's doing. To be successful in tourism is bigger than having pretty pictures of beaches and fish sandwiches and having commercials. It's about relationships. I've said that over and over. Relationships. And if you don't have relationships in this industry, you will have challenges. So thank you to the BTA, Hazel Clark, Charles, Tashay, everyone over there that continues to push Bermuda as a destination. Over to you, Sandra. Thoughts?
So I think I can sum it up with my quote, which pretty much says it all. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Maya Angelou. Yeah. And that's facts, right?
Yeah, it's real. It's real. Sanch, you got through 2 episodes together.
Yes. I'm enjoying it.
You didn't throw anything at me, so no, it's great. It's great. And I think Sherry enjoys the days off from me. Larry too. Leanna, she just has to put up with me every day, it's pretty hard doing that. But thank you for finally coming on board. We are so happy to have you. I'm sure we have some quite interesting chats on WhatsApp. A lot of opinions shared, folks, but it's all love. I want to say this. So yesterday, before we head out, folks, I know we're running out of time, but yesterday I tried to push Sherry and push her, and finally I think I got Sherry to get to that space. Like, no, keep going, because she's so controlled. She's very controlled, and I'm just like, no, let's go, we're going there. And I was so proud that I got her a bit there. Well, we were talking about the Will Smith and Chris Rock thing, and I was so happy, and I was just like, Sherry, I said this to her when we got off. I said, oh, that was some good damn radio. Folks, nice. Entertainment. Sometimes it means go in there. It's not always comfortable, not always pretty.
Got a little uncomfortable.
Absolutely. So thanks again to our partners, Medical House, One Communications, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. She is Sancha Durham. I'm Jamal Hartman. Sancha doesn't have a mug yet, but make it a
I do. I'm going to get that today.
She's going to get it today. Hold it to her, folks. So she's back next week without a mug. That's fine.
See you guys next week.